They had it all: fame, fortune, fans, and the world at their feet. But something was missing. Beneath the flashing cameras and red carpet smiles, these celebrities were searching for something deeper, something eternal. In a world where faith is mocked and Catholicism often misunderstood, these 8 public figures made a bold choice. Some returned to the church after years away, others found it at the very end of their lives, and a few risked their careers to live out the truth they found at the foot of the cross. From Hollywood legends to world leaders, from deathbed conversions to public declarations of faith, these are the real stories of famous souls who embraced the Catholic Church and never looked back. Welcome to Famous Celebrities Who Embraced Catholicism. 8 stories that prove grace still shines in the spotlight. Mark Wahlberg wasn't always a model Catholic. Known for his wild past as a rapper and bad boy in the 90s, few could have predicted the devout man he'd become. Raised in a working-class Catholic family in Boston, he strayed early, caught in gangs, drugs, and violence, but something changed when he found himself behind bars at age 16. It wasn't just a wake-up call, it was a divine appointment. Wahlberg began seeking purpose, rediscovered prayer, and returned to the Catholic faith with a passion that would later shape not only his personal life, but also his career. Unlike many celebrities who keep their faith quiet, Mark Wahlberg is vocal, intentional, and unwavering about his beliefs. He attends daily Mass, prays the Rosary regularly, fasts, and publicly embraces Ash Wednesday. His social media is filled with videos encouraging prayer and discipline. In 2022, he starred in Father Stu, a film based on a real-life Catholic priest's redemption arc, a project Wahlberg personally funded and championed. His message to Hollywood? Being Catholic isn't a crutch or a cultural relic. It's a calling. And for Wahlberg, it's his foundation. He has even said that without his faith, he wouldn't be alive today. Andrea Bocelli, the globally renowned tenor with the voice that stirs souls, has long credited his Catholic faith as the foundation of his life, both spiritually and professionally. Born in Tuscany, Italy, into a Catholic family, Bocelli was raised with a reverence for sacred music, prayer, and Catholic traditions. But his path wasn't without hardship. Losing his eyesight completely at age 12 could have filled him with despair. Instead, it turned him toward God. Though not a dramatic conversion story, Bocelli's commitment to Catholicism is firm and vocal in a secular music world. He often sings in churches, has performed for multiple popes, and considers music a gift from God meant to lift the human spirit. He attributes his strength, humility, and focus to his relationship with Jesus Christ and his devotion to the Virgin Mary. One of Bocelli's most controversial yet profoundly Catholic moments was when he revealed that his mother had rejected the doctor's advice to abort him after a pregnancy complication. His existence, he says, is proof of the sanctity of life. That testimony became a powerful pro-life message that spread across the globe. When he sings Ave Maria or Panis Angelicus, it's not just performance, it's prayer. For Bocelli, Catholicism isn't a role, it's the lens through which he sees the world, even without his physical sight. Nicole Kidman is a household name, an Oscar-winning actress, fashion icon, and global star. But behind the glamour and red carpet smiles lies a quiet, enduring Catholic faith that has shaped her choices and values in unexpected ways. Born in Hawaii and raised in Australia, Kidman was brought up in the Catholic tradition, but like many in Hollywood, she drifted during her early fame. It wasn't rebellion. It was the noise of the world. That changed when she married country music star Keith Urban and began reassessing the spiritual roots she never truly let go of. In interviews, she has described herself as a devout Catholic, often attending Mass with her husband and children, praying regularly and leaning heavily on her faith during difficult seasons, especially during her struggles with fertility and fame's isolation. Nicole has openly spoken about the ridicule she's faced in Hollywood circles for being a practicing Catholic, even being called old-fashioned for praying the Rosary with her daughters. Yet she remains unapologetic. For her, Catholicism provides a moral compass, a foundation in chaos, and a timeless sense of belonging. She's also quietly supported Catholic charities and causes over the years. In an industry that often celebrates excess and self-worship, Kidman's steady, humble devotion to the Catholic faith is a quiet rebellion and a testimony of grace under pressure. Few names stir as much debate in both Hollywood and the church as Mel Gibson. Known for films like Braveheart, Lethal Weapon, and most famously The Passion of the Christ, Gibson's Catholicism is as intense as his filmmaking. But his faith journey is far from simple and far from shallow. Raised in a traditional Catholic household, Gibson became known for his adherence to a pre-Vatican II version of Catholicism, often described as traditionalist. While his theological leanings differ from mainstream Catholicism, Gibson's personal devotion is sincere, zealous, and deeply rooted in sacramental life. He built his own private chapel, attends the Latin Mass, and once said that if he didn't have the Eucharist every Sunday, he'd blow his brains out. For Gibson, faith is not cultural, it's survival. The Passion of the Christ wasn't just a film, it was a personal penance. Funded with his own money, shot in Aramaic and Latin, and directed with brutal realism, the film shocked Hollywood and stunned audiences. Critics accused it of being too violent. Catholics saw it as a meditation on redemptive suffering. Gibson's personal life has often spiraled. Alcohol abuse, public scandals, and accusations have tainted his public image. But even in his darkest hours, he clung to his Catholic identity. He has called his failings proof that I need Christ more than ever. And though many tried to cancel him, he quietly continued going to Mass, fasting, and working on faith-driven projects behind the scenes. Love him or hate him, Mel Gibson's Catholicism is undeniably authentic, raw, flawed, but burning with conviction. Bob Dylan, one of the most influential and enigmatic artists of all time, has always kept the world guessing. From folk to rock to gospel, Dylan's music shaped generations, but few know the deeper spiritual battle that defined his personal life. In the late 1970s, Dylan famously underwent a public conversion to evangelical Christianity, releasing albums like Slow Train Coming. But what happened after that is lesser known and far more Catholic than most imagine. By the late 1980s and early 1990s, Dylan began quietly attending Catholic Mass and seeking spiritual direction from priests. Though he never made a loud declaration, multiple biographers and close friends have confirmed that Dylan was drawn to the Catholic Church's mystery, sacramental structure, and reverence for Mary and the saints. He was often seen praying the Rosary before shows and had a deep appreciation for Pope John Paul II, even performing at the World Eucharistic Congress in front of him. In fact, when Dylan was invited to meet the Pope in 1997, it wasn't just a publicity event, it was a spiritual milestone. Dylan later said that he felt something deeply holy in the moment and began quietly studying Catholic theology after the encounter. Though he's famously evasive in interviews, Dylan's later works are laced with Catholic imagery. Grace, blood, chalices, judgment, mercy, the cross. Like his lyrics, Dylan's faith defies easy definition, but those closest to him say, he's no longer searching. He found the church. Tony Blair, former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, is no stranger to history. As one of Britain's most high-profile leaders of the 21st century, his political career was filled with bold decisions, international controversy, and global leadership. But few expected what came next, his formal conversion to Roman Catholicism shortly after leaving office in 2007. Though he had long been a man of faith, Blair was baptized into the Church of England. Yet during his years in office, he attended Catholic Mass weekly with his wife, Cherie, a lifelong and devout Catholic, and their children. Blair himself admitted that his deepening attraction to the Catholic Church had grown for many years, but as Prime Minister he was advised not to convert. Out of fear, it might affect public perception or complicate political decisions. After stepping down, Blair finally took the step that had been quietly brewing for decades. In a small, humble ceremony at Westminster Cathedral, he was received into the church. It wasn't a political move, it was spiritual. Blair later said that Catholicism offered a profound sense of spiritual order and authority that he couldn't find elsewhere. He also cited the moral leadership of Pope John Paul II as a major influence. Blair's post-political life has been shaped by this transformation. He launched the Tony Blair Faith Foundation to promote interreligious dialogue and has spoken candidly about how Catholic social teaching has shaped his views on justice, war, and peace. Critics question the timing, but for Blair, it wasn't about image. It was about eternity. John Wayne. The name itself echoes with Americana, cowboy grit, Western justice, and cinematic heroism. Known for his towering presence in films like True Grit, The Searchers, and The Alamo, Wayne became a symbol of American masculinity. But few know that beneath the rugged exterior, a quiet spiritual struggle was unfolding, one that ended in a surprising act of surrender on his deathbed. Though he was raised Presbyterian, Wayne had long been surrounded by Catholic influences. His wives were Catholic. His children attended Catholic schools. And as he aged, the man who played larger-than-life heroes began confronting his own mortality. In his final months battling stomach cancer, Wayne found himself drawn more and more toward the church he had long observed from a distance. According to multiple accounts, including his children and clergy, John Wayne requested to be baptized into the Catholic Church before his death in 1979. The request was fulfilled privately by a hospital chaplain at the UCLA Medical Center in Los Angeles. His grandson, a Catholic priest, later confirmed that Wayne had embraced the sacraments with sincerity and peace. It wasn't a publicity stunt. There were no headlines, no cameras, just a dying man kneeling in his soul before a crucified Savior. Wayne's daughter later recalled that he had kept a rosary by his bedside for years and frequently asked questions about the Virgin Mary and the saints. The Duke, the legend, the cowboy who never backed down, found eternal peace in the arms of the Church. A final bow, not in front of a camera, but before the throne of God. Sir Alec Guinness, the legendary British actor known worldwide for playing Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars and the iconic British spy George Smiley, was also a man of deep, unexpected faith. Behind the aristocratic voice and stage-trained elegance lay a spiritual journey few ever saw coming, a journey that led him straight into the heart of the Catholic Church. Raised with no formal religion, Guinness drifted toward atheism in his early years. His brilliant acting career took off on the London stage and later in Hollywood, where he played princes, popes, and paupers with equal mastery. But something shifted while filming Father Brown in France in the 1950s. Dressed in priestly garb, Guinness was walking back to his hotel when a young French boy mistook him for a real Catholic priest, took his hand, and walked alongside him with complete trust. That simple, wordless act sparked a transformation. It wasn't instant, but it was real. Guinness began exploring the Catholic faith more seriously, attending Mass and reading theology in secret. After years of spiritual searching, he was received into the Catholic Church in 1956. His wife, who initially resisted the idea, eventually converted as well, deepening their bond and reshaping their home. Guinness later said, Catholicism brought him serenity and strength, grounding him in humility amidst the temptations of fame. He prayed the Rosary, received the sacraments regularly, and requested a quiet funeral mass upon his death in 2000. For a man who played Jedi Masters and Masters of Espionage, his most powerful role may have been that of a humble Catholic soul, kneeling before the Eucharist, longing for a kingdom not of this world,